What's going on, everyone? This is the Raikaze here. Today we have gotten some amazing and brand new news that's going to be covering the Pokemon Champions game. We finally got ourselves a release date. We also have some screenshots that was talking about the different abilities, which we're going to go into. So just a few things that we're just going to need to cover in terms of this upcoming game and see whether or not if we should be excited about it, be more concerned. But this is where the competitive format is going to be shifting towards. So let's go ahead and look into what we should expect from this upcoming game. So on Cerebi.net, which I'll leave a link in the description box below, we have the breakdown of the information from the site, and then since though we actually have some footage here, so we're going to just go ahead and look at that. The latest news for the Pokemon Champions has been revealed. The game will launch on April 8th, 2026. Alongside this, new abilities have been announced. Mega Meganium gets a new one called Mega Soul, which lets the Pokemon use its moves as if the weather were harsh sunlight. So it's saying use its moves, so therefore like Solar Beam, if even if it's raining or if it's just regular weather, it's just a one turn move. Now, does that mean the power will be the same? That's still up to debate, because yes, it's using the moves as if it was in harsh sunlight, but does it actually get the boost? Now, can you use growth and double up your physical attack and special attack in that same turn as if it's harsh sunlight? Mega Meganium can be a mega powerhouse right there. Partner it with a Pokemon that's going to use Follow Me, or use another Pokemon that's going to set up some screens, and then while it's doing that, it's just boosting its stats and then ready to go ham. So watch out for Mega Meganium. Mega Emboar gets Mold Breaker. Okay. Mega Feraligatr gets Dragon Eyes, turns normal type moves into Dragon type with a 20% boost. So this is like our Pixelate or our Aerialate ability. So now we have a Dragon type form of it. So you probably want to do like a Dragon Dance on a Feraligatr, and then after that, I don't even know what moves it's going to get. I didn't even play with Feraligatr in Legends ZA, so I'm not sure what moves it gets. And of course, the moves might even change in the future anyway. So in this current state, you'll want to use a water attack, maybe like Liquidation, Waterfall, something like that, because you have the flinch chance. And then you can do the, I don't know, Dragon Claw or something, or just use a normal attack because it will turn into a dragon attack from that point. So that is something that you can do. Then let's see, Pokemon Champions will have a Switch 2 enhanced visual performance patch on April 8th for Nintendo Switch 2 players. Okay. Is it coming out for the Switch 1 as well? I thought it was only for the Switch 2. I'm not sure, but I thought it was only going to be for the Switch 2. But maybe I guess not, because if it's going to be available for mobile, surely it can be played on the Switch 1 as well. But I'm not sure. The first live event for Pokemon Champions will be the Indianapolis Regionals Championship at the end of May. So then they had an edit. Okay, we got microtransactions. So we'll talk about that here in a second. But so this is very important here. And the reason we believe that this is going to be the case is the Indianapolis Regional, which is the end of May, is selected because people have already registered for the previous tournaments. So if you are not planning on getting this game and you have not yet registered for Indianapolis, because you can't even register for it anyway, then you have the option of choosing, hey, am I going to register for this tournament or not? If you do plan on going to the Indianapolis Regional, then you will need to already be on Pokemon Champions. So that means once this game releases on April 8th, then you will have a month and a half roughly to get yourself really acclimated to the game, get as far advanced, however advanced it may be, so you can be prepared for the tournament. I don't know if they've given us any information of what the actual rule set will be, but that is going to be something to look out for, because if there's any particular Pokemon you're going to want to play with, and or if there's any particular items that you're going to need to get, then you're going to have to grind early and grind fast, because you're going to need to be preparing for that tournament. So that is going to be a huge deal. Next up, we also have the microtransaction prices for Japan. So there's no prices currently for the US and Europe, but it is 1,400 yen a season for the battle pass. So this is interesting. So how long is a season? Because currently we go each month, and then we have another season, and the rankings reset and things of that sort. So if it's 1,400 yen, and if we do just a basic conversion, then that's about $10 in US dollars. So are we going to have to pay $10 per month in order to like battle on the battle pass per season, and if you're wanting to rank up. So that can be kind of concerning. Also, being the fact that we play VGC, is going to be open team sheet? Is it not going to be open team sheet? Because there should be a way for it to be open team sheet. So that is another question. Then we also have a starter pack, which is 980 yen. So I guess that would be roughly $6 or $7. And that is containing 50 training tickets, 30 teammate tickets, and 50 additional box space and music from Pokemon Let's Go. So this is the starter pack itself, that if you want to purchase it on day one, I believe, then the 50 training tickets, I'm not sure what that is for. So 50 training tickets, maybe to train up each of your Pokemon, and 30 teammate tickets, so that means maybe tickets to bring in up to 30 Pokemon, and then 50 additional box space. So therefore you have 50 additional spaces for additional Pokemon. So you can still recruit Pokemon, and then you also have free transfers of some previous Pokemon, just based upon how this is read. Of course, we'll see the video, and maybe if there's any new information there, we can probably update what I'm about to say. The music from Pokemon Let's Go, just whatever. Membership, 700 yen a month, or 7,000 yen a year. Now that's going to be roughly $45, somewhere around there. So this gives unique missions, access to music tracks, more battle teams, and more Pokemon in the box. You'll be able to spend victory points on cosmetic items as well as items from the store. So you'll be able to spend victory points. So as you battle, you're getting victory points, and you can get cosmetic items as well as items from the store, which will be the items like Mega Stones and probably held items in order for you to get your Pokemon to be on the competitive, like the held items that's required for the game. So that is going to be very important. So what I'll do is look at this video here, and let's just see what is going to translate.
Pokemon battles for everyone! Pokemon Champions!
Automatically, we have to admit that the graphics are absolutely amazing. Palafin's confirmed, so that's also amazing. We are seeing Mega Evolutions. We have Ceruledge, not Ceruledge, Armarouge, but of course Ceruledge is going to be in there if Armarouge is there. So yeah, we have some good confirmations already. Music is amazing from the Pokemon League, so I guess maybe that is great from having music from the Pokemon Let's Go. So let's continue.
This game is all about battles. Compete online against players from across the world with the Pokemon you've recruited.
Okay, so this is supposed to be how we are going to prepare our Pokemon, so this will be very important.
There are two ways to obtain battle-ready Pokemon.
Okay.
The first is by connecting to the Pokemon Home app. Transfer your Pokemon from games in the Pokemon RPG series and the Pokemon Go app to Pokemon Home. Then link the app to this game. The second way is via...
Okay, so it looks as though we are going to have the Pokemon Home connectivity more than likely on day one, I'm assuming. So therefore, we'll be able to transfer our Pokemon, probably if you already have part of that starter pack, I'm assuming. So you can utilize some of your Pokemon from Pokemon Home.
Recruit. Choose one Pokemon to recruit once per day from a random selection of Pokemon that appear in the game.
Random selection.
Recruited Pokemon can only be used in Pokemon Champions for a certain amount of time.
Okay, now we got the battles.
After you've gathered your Pokemon, choose 6 of them and form your team. Before battle, you'll be able to see your opponent's team and vice versa, and choose the Pokemon you want to use for the impending match.
All right, now we already are seeing that this is a rank battle, double battle, and it is select 4 Pokemon to send into the battle, so it's still the standard 4 Mons for double battles in terms of VGC. But as we can also see, you have your items, you cannot see your opponent's items. So this is showing up as a closed team sheet style of battle.
Consider which Pokemon your opponent will use. Then select your own Pokemon to start the battle.
I want to be able to customize my character. That's going to be very important for me.
Players alternate turns with moves. Win by reducing the HP of all your opponent's Pokemon to 0. If you're in a bind, you can swap one Pokemon for another. Or use Mega Evolution to power up your Pokemon.
So are we automatically having access to Mega Evolution? Don't have to do anything like through gameplay in order to be like, hey, now you can Mega Evolve. This is interesting. That would be really good. So if it's just pure battles, then we can just go ahead and just get started right away.
The decisions you make could influence the tide of battle. With Mega Evolution,
These are the abilities, so this is great.
certain Pokemon will gain abilities brand new to the series. There are also different battle formats. Use one Pokemon at a time in single battles.
Oh, so we still have access to
Or have
singles.
Pokemon fight 2-on-2 in double battles.
Okay. Battle modes. Hold on. Additional games and systems required for multiplayer mode. Okay, so separately, blah, blah, blah. Nintendo account and internet access required for online features. So this is where we were talking about in previous videos. Nintendo account, therefore you're going to need to have that account. We're going to have online access, which you're paying for. So like I've said, this is going to basically be your most expensive Pokemon game. So there's that.
There are 3 different online battle modes.
Rank battles,
In
which is
ranked
what we'll
battles,
stay in all the
test
time.
your skills against evenly matched trainers. And aim for the highest rank. In casual battles, wins and losses aren't recorded, so you can enjoy matches however you'd like. And in private battles, create a room and battle against anyone with the room ID.
Ooh, now this is nice. Now, you guess you can already do this with your Pokemon Scarlet and Violet currently, so you can just create a union circle and just play online. But at the same time, it's good that you can create a specific ID and then battle people, so this will be great for us when we're doing some streaming, depending on what we can block on the screen. So we'll see about that.
There are also in-game online competitions in which you'll battle with preset rules that change every season.
What is the season? That's what I want to know.
Engage in battles to earn victory points or VP.
Okay.
Here's how to use VP. You can swap the moves a Pokemon can learn,
Okay.
change its nature, modify its abilities, and more. The stat points of a Pokemon can also be adjusted.
Okay, so first off, we are seeing that we have to use VP constantly if you want to make any adjustments to your Pokemon. So my theory still remains that if you put your Pokemon in Pokemon Champions, you can transfer it back out. It may be more feasible to transfer it back to one of your older games if you don't have enough VP, and then just change your stats there, because you could probably just do some fast EV training or something like that. But if you're able to, for example, earn VP very easily with just short battles, then maybe that is what you will probably just need to do. Just a couple battles here and there, then you got enough points. So maybe that is the case. But now the 66 points, this is something that we need to verify here.
For example, you could increase attack and speed.
Okay, so they said that was a maximum of 32 points on the health. So let's back out of this for a second, and we're gonna go to Pokemon Showdown, and we're gonna just see what these points are like. All right, so here we are. We have a Dragonite, right? So if we were to maximize this, 252, that is a total of from 166 to 198, right? So that's 32 points right there. If we go back here, that is exactly how many points we were able to get from maximizing at 252. So 32, and we were maximizing into 2 stats, so that'll be a total of 64, but they are giving us an extra point. So now it is confirmed that we are getting a total of 66 points as opposed to 65. So take that and we'll see if that makes or breaks anything, but you still can only do a maximum of 32 points in a particular stat. So that works there.
To boost offense. Or raise HP and defense to withstand attacks.
Okay.
Pokemon can be easily trained to your liking, so try out different ways to battle.
All right, this is on recruiting.
You can only recruit once per day, but by using VP, you can recruit multiple times. Keep in mind that recruited Pokemon are only available for 1 week, but with VP, any recruited Pokemon will be permanently added.
Okay. Now we have to say that this is going to be something that is good for individuals that have not played some of the older games and they want to get into the competitive scene, because they'll have access to some of the other Pokemon if they have not had access to some of these evolutions. For example, like the Hydrapple or maybe the Scizor, they don't have the opportunity to trade to evolve their Pokemon. So there are different things that will limit them from having access to those Pokemon if they haven't played those other games. So having the opportunity to recruit the Pokemon is great. Now, the only issue with that is that it is on a randomization. So good luck as to when or which Pokemon will show up and if you need it or not. So there's that.
In the shop, spend VP to purchase held items or Mega Stones for your Pokemon.
How much is it? 4,000? Oh no, 2,000. Okay, 2,000 VP. This is one thing that we really need to know. How many VP points do we get per battle? And does it like exponentially grow the higher tiers you are? That is where there may be some debate. So we may need to hurry up and get to Master Ball tier and really continue to earn up those VPs in order so you can try to buy more items. So this may be the biggest key.
You can also get clothing and looks for your trainer, different Pokeball throwing styles, and battle music. A world of fierce battles with your Pokemon awaits. Pokemon Champions. Available April 8th on the Nintendo Switch system.
Okay, so this will be on the Nintendo Switch because it says it's also compatible with Nintendo Switch 2. So that answers my question. This might have been already something that was stated before, but I don't remember. So it is what it is. So if there was any debate on it, it is compatible with both Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch 2. So that is actually going to be great. This will actually be really good. So maybe my partner can actually start playing Pokemon too. So we can actually have some battles. So this is going to be a excellent way for people to get into the game. Now, what this does cover is the different Pokemon that are available. And we can pretty much be safe to say that any Pokemon that can Mega Evolve will be in this game. So just go ahead and expect that. Now, what we are going to do from that point, that is still left to be determined. So just go ahead and just start practicing a little bit here and there. But once the game comes out, I would strongly suggest hopping on to Pokemon Showdown, because more than likely they're going to do some updates and we can just practice over there and then bring your Pokemon from the other games if you already have them. But if not, just earn some VP and check your game every single day until maybe one of the Pokemon show up so you can recruit them, and then maybe you can change your stats. Just do something like that. But that is going to be the most important thing. You want to get your items ready to go, because the Pokemon Regional in Indianapolis is going to be that tournament that is going to be on this platform. So it's going to be a learning curve, yes, but I think it's going to be something that we'll be able to adapt to. The graphics look great, I will say that. Now, the only thing about it, though, is that these monthly payment systems, like I said, this is going to make this game much more expensive. And does that also mean if we're going to be paying every single month to hop onto these like battle seasons and things of that sort, does that mean that regionals are going to be less expensive, or are we going to be able to play from home? Or are we going to be subject to a very expensive game and still paying the same amount for these regionals? That's going to be the biggest question from this point forward. We still have some time, and the rules are going to be changing over time on the TPCI. So let's wait for that to be determined. But that is basically all that we can cover at this particular point. I know I'm going to be getting the game. I'm already making some plans, and I know I have some big things coming up even around that Indianapolis Regional, but I'm trying my best to make sure that I'm going to be there. So if you are going to be there, make sure you say hello. But at this time, make sure you're leaving a like, sharing, subscribing, and turning on those notifications to see when the next videos are going to come live. But at this moment in time, this is going to be the Raikaze signing off. You all know what to do. Stay strong, and you power on. We catch y'all later.